Good afternoon. Today we will be talking about personal versus business letters. Okay, so difference between a business letter and a personal letter. Okay, so written communication skills can develop over time through practice or can be learned by following guidelines appropriate for business or personal circumstances. A proper business communication, whether in the form of an email message or a traditional letter, illustrates your knowledge of our organizational structure, defines the recipient of your communication, and exhibits professional courtesy. Now, personal written communication class is generally less formal, but the writer must demonstrate the same level of courtesy for even a personal letter to a close friend. Let's discuss first personal letters. Okay, so a personal letter is a communication between two acquaintances or friends concerning non-business matters. Now, this kind of letter does not follow certain rules or structures and uses a less formal wording or colloquial language. An example of this kind of letter is a holiday greeting sent to a friend who lives abroad with wishes for a happy holiday season and updates on personal highlights from the past year. Now, personal letters renew and maintain relationships with people whom you consider to be friends or family. Kani siya nga kind of letter class can be typewritten if they are lengthy. However, it is also acceptable to handwrite a personal letter provided your handwriting is, of course, legible. What about business letter? Okay, so business letter is a formal type of written letter and or communication concerning business transactions and other business related issues and information. Now, this kind of letter must adhere to certain rules, restrictions, and formats and must use a formal language. In addition, an effective business letter should sound like a person talking to another person. So, meaning it, even if it is a business letter, it is still a conversational letter. Now, an example of this is an application letter written by an applicant who is interested in a vacant job. A business letter is commonly written on an 8.5 by 11 or a short, clean bond paper. It follows a margin and free from dirt and scratches in order to build a good impression to the reader. What is the purpose of this business letter? It maintains relationships with professional contacts made through networking or business transactions. A cover letter transmitting your resume is also considered a personal business letter. Personal versus business letter. The business communication page posted 11 comparisons of personal letter and business letter. Let's talk about number one, nature. Business letter or commercial letter is impersonal and universal in nature, while personal letter is fully personal in nature. Next is purpose. Business letter is exchanging various business related issues and information. On the other hand, personal letter is exchanging personal or family related affairs and information. Then let's move on to scope. Business letter scope is wide and contains various types of business information. Personal letter scope is limited and contains only personal information. Then we have structure. Business letter follows officially recognized structure. Personal letter does not follow any recognized structure. Next is formality. Business letter maintains formal rules and procedure. Personal letter, on the other hand, is informal. Size. Business letter generally is concise in size and avoids irrelevant matter. On the other hand, personal letter may be concise or large in size. Next is types. Business letter can be categorized differently. Personal letter generally cannot be categorized. So, depende rin na ni magsuwat ka o personal letter. Then, salutation. Business letter salutation can be Sir, Dear Mr. X, etc. Personal letter salutations are Dear Friends, My Dear X, etc. Now, in salutation class, you have to remember that you just use dear if you know your recipient. So, kung dili ka kaila personally sa imong recipient, Mr. and then the family name or the name, complete name sa imong recipient ang imong gamiton. Again, remember, just use dear if you know personally your recipient. Then we have language. Business letter language should be easy and simple. Personal letter language may be easy, poetic, emotional, etc. Then we have copy. Business letter copy of business letters should always be preserved. Personal letter copy of personal letter may or may not be preserved. So di man siguro mo mag-keep o personal file basta personal letter na sadya, no? But ang business letter, kanang imong copy, kanang imong file copy, you should preserve that because it will serve as your proof or evidence that indeed you send a certain business letter. Then we have method. Business letter uses direct and persuasive method. Personal letter uses only direct method. Now, whether you are writing a personal or a business letter, the way you construct the message and the way the receiver decodes the message is very much important.
Stationery for personal letters. Some etiquette experts lament the loss of art of letter writing and suggest the use of printed stationery to enhance the experience of writing a letter instead of simply sending an email to friends. Now, stationery for personal letters can often reflect your personal style through the use of a creative font, design, or colored paper. In Lisa Mirza's Grot's article in the Huffington Post, she writes, and I quote, "The look and feel of a handwritten note is incomparable and deeply personal. Compared to email, evites, or invitation sending via email, and everything else electronic, paper stands the test of time." So that is stationery for personal letters. How about stationery for business letters? Now, custom printed letterhead is widely accepted as a standard for business letters. Business letterhead contains the organization's name, the logo, and contact information such as address, telephone and facsimile numbers, and website URL. Letterhead for personal business letters is much the same in that it contains your name, address, contact information, and your personal website URL if you have one. Some business letterhead, particularly for nonprofit organizations, list the names of officers or names of the organization's board of directors. So, kasagaran anha na ibutang sa left side margin ang mga list of officers. Business letterhead is usually formal. Many experts recommend using a neutral color for stationery such as off-white or eggshell. So, if the paper that you use in personal letter, you can use it as kanang makapili mo kung unsa inyong gusto, kanang usahay mamili tag stationery nga humot, no? So mo man na anda na ay mga drawing or mga images in business letter. So neutral color ra gina siya, mostly ana off white or white or eggshell ang color. Okay, so dili scented pod, so neutral ra gyud siya because again uh, in business letters, it is more of impersonal letter. Okay. Different writing styles. A business letter, by virtue of its purpose, is written in a formal tone to convey your message in a professional manner. Transmitting a resume via a business letter demonstrates your interest in a career. Therefore, your cover letter illustrates your ability to communicate in a business-like fashion. So, dili o magsuwat mo og resume, dili nga more og personal letter. Also, business-like gihapon ang inyong gamiton. On the other hand, a personal letter, especially to one to like for example you'll send it to a close friend, can be informal and may even contain colloquialisms which would normally be unacceptable in business communication. Technique of writing business letters. Now, to make your letters effective in terms of today's business world, you should understand and make use of four basic psychological techniques according to Major and Major in 1968. Okay, so first, write from the you attitude. What is this all about? Okay, so every person is interested primarily in himself and thus responds to a letter written from his point of view. To test the effectiveness of your letter, on this point, count the number of I's and U's in your letter and then compare. A good letter should have a preponderance of U's and a minimum of I's. But more than this, your letter should have the reader's viewpoint in mind throughout the text. Okay, so let's compare this one. Okay, in the I attitude. I was happy to hear that my letter of January 5th provided sufficient information for the completion of the order for us. Okay, then compare it to the you perspective or the you viewpoint. Thank you for your assurance that you had sufficient information for the completion of your order. Okay, so how does it feel? Which is better? Kaning I attitude or the you attitude? Okay, so of course, mas better ang you attitude. Okay. Next, accentuate the positive. Even a letter that has to say no can be written from a positive point of view. Make it an absolute rule never to start or end your letter with a negative. Kay kinsa may ganahan mo basa og negative ang context sa letter. No, wala gyud. Okay, so whenever possible, avoid words with a negative connotation, such as argument, careless, complaint, disagreeable, error, neglect, and unfair. Okay, so try to compare this statement. Okay, sa positive viewpoint. Thank you for your order. The merchandise will be delivered to you as soon as payment is made. Okay, so
compare it to the negative. We regret to inform you that we will not be able to ship your order until we receive your payment. Okay, so di ba lahi ra gid kaayo ang iyahang impact. Okay, so in writing a business letter, we have to accentuate the positive. Number 3, make your letters smile. Okay, so sumupod ni buti pasabot. Okay, so a business letter should leave a pleasant impression. Get a smile in your letter, a bit of your personality, an atmosphere of goodwill. A sour letter, pick attitude. Complaining undertone is comparable to a surly manner in your conversation. So these are phrases that have a built-in smile that you can use freely in writing business letters. Okay, we shall be glad to. It is a pleasure. Thank you. We appreciate very much with our compliments. Okay, so not necessarily nga literal nimo pagsabot nga make your letter smile. So when you use these phrases, at least ang tenor sa inyong letter no friendly. Okay, so that's number 3, make your letters smile. Next is make your copy live. Sampun nambot ipasabot. Okay, so the reader should feel what you say. If possible, create a visual experience. Let the reader see himself doing something, running a machine, telling his friends about his triumphs, selling more accounts, reinterpreted the same copy. So, ing ana na siya. Unsaan man po na ninyo pag how should this be possible? So, by also using phrases, evocative phrases. And also, ang choice of words na po ninyo ani ang matter. Okay, so again, mauna yung mga 4 psychological techniques according to Major and Major. Number 1, write from the you attitude. Second, accentuate the positive. Third, make your letters smile. And fourth, make your copy live. Okay, so thank you for watching. Prepare yourselves for the activity that will follow.